Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about if someone asked you to switch seats on a plane, would you? Let's go. So, this came up because a friend of mine sent me a note, and it was about a gentleman got on a flight and he paid for his seat. He's sitting close to the toilets because he has some kind of issue and he needs to go to the toilet. So he's picked his aisle seat, paid for it. This lady comes on. She's pregnant. She wants to sit close to the room and she wants him to move. She gets upset because he said no. And it turns out that people didn't know that he had a medical issue, but it turns out that he did, and that's why he picked the seat. And he said the flight crew didn't help him at all. They actually wanted him to move because the lady was pregnant. And so, kind of two things here. Uh, not every disability is visible. So, you could see people and you don't know what's wrong with them, right? And they look okay. Like some people have stomach issues. And when they have stomach issues, they need to be, either they want to sit at the near the toilet, or they may have motion sickness, so they want to sit next to the window because they need to lean next to the window, all kinds of stuff. But what happens as humans is we look at someone and we judge who you are. And I see this happen with like if people who use the disabled toilets at the airports, some people will get mad if they see them and they're not disabled. Well, you may not see my disability, right? But you don't know that I may need more room. I may have to wear a diaper or something. And so I need the bigger room to do what I need to do. But we judge people just by just by looking at them. And so this guy had an issue, and that's why he picked his seat. And now this lady comes on, she's pregnant, which is visible. And everyone is like, oh my God, I can't believe you wouldn't move for your seat. Same thing if people traveling with children. They want the kids to sit next to them, but they didn't take the time to book the seat that they needed. But I did, or the other person did. And sometimes if you look at this picture that's here, so on my left, I guess left right there, those are the regular seats. And I was in a regular seat on this particular flight. And then on the other side, which is there, see the little red thing? Those are Comfort Plus. So you get a little more leg room in Comfort Plus. You pay more for the Comfort Plus seats. Um, and if you're a frequent flyer, you end up paying you're getting that seat for free, but because you're a frequent flyer, you spend more money with the airline. So technically it's not free. You're getting it as a perk because you spent more money with the airline. So if somebody comes on and I'm sitting in my seat and I'm all comfy and I'm all settled in, and you go, oh, can you switch with me because me and my husband is traveling, or me and my partner, whatever it is traveling. And it's like, no, because you had the right to do the same thing that I had. You could have done what I did to get the seat. I was on a British Airways flight on an A380 upstairs in the upper deck. Now, what initially happened was British Airways canceled my flight. And when they canceled the flight, they rebooked me the next day. And I was going to a conference, and going the next day meant I would have missed the entire conference for that first day, which is important. So I go, no, that can't happen. So what I did, I said, can I go today? Now, this was in the morning. My flight was in the afternoon, and I had, like not so many hours to get my flight. So now what I wanted to do, I wanted to fly downstairs on the 380 in one direction and upstairs on the 380 in another direction. Because my flight was canceled and I had to switch it to this to like the day before, the seats weren't available that I wanted. So I had to flip it. So then going down, I flew downstairs, and coming back, I flew upstairs. Now there were no window seats available. And I kept looking. I mean, on the return flight, I kept looking until I found it. And then once I found it, so I wanted to see, the place to sit. And coming back, I found a window seat upstairs on the left side. And I noticed that the seat on the aisle was already taken. And so I get on the flight, and then this lady I was sitting next to, her mother was helping her get her luggage up and stuff like that. And then she's like, she's a young adult. I think she's like 20, maybe 21. And so she goes, well, can I switch with you? And I said, no. I said, absolutely not. Well, I didn't say absolutely not, but I said no. And it's like, I went through so much. I kept checking, like all week I was in Dubai, I kept checking to find a seat. And I go, yes, I found one. She didn't change. She didn't go back and check. Um, and if she and her mom wanted to sit together, go pay for it. I have status as an American, so I didn't have to pay to sit in and I don't even think that was an extra legroom seat. But I kept checking every day until I found the seat that I wanted. She could have done the same. And obviously she didn't, because when I booked, the seat next to her was empty, and that's the one I took. And her mom was sitting like 3 or 4 rows ahead. And so if she had looked, she could have moved her mom. Not my problem. That's her problem. And so the whole flight, she had a mug on her face. But not my problem. I'm not moving because I wanted that seat. I had work to do. I had a video I wanted to do, and I want to take photos from the window. So that's a negative. And so the problem is that people want you to be uncomfortable, says they're comfortable because they didn't plan. And that's what I have a problem with. I'm like, it's not my fault you got a middle seat, it's yours. And you know what? When I get the middle seat, I sit in the middle seat and I'm good to go. Last flight I was on, I got the middle seat and I came on and I was ready to sit in the middle seat, and there was an elderly couple and they were sitting next to each other. And the gentleman at the window, he looked over to me and he goes, "This is your lucky day. We want to sit next to each other." And I said, "Okay, no worries. I'll take the aisle." So I mean, the things happen, but don't go, especially when you have nothing to swap. Like you're in a middle seat and you want to swap for an aisle just because you're traveling with somebody else. Tough. You should have thought about that and you should have bought the thing. Some people are very weird because what they want to do is they think, oh, I can ask. No, you cannot. And no, you should not. Not at all. Now I'm saying this, and I was on a flight from Hawaii to LA, got a first class upgrade, and I had I think I had 3D or 3C. Not thinking, I went and I sat in 3D. So when the folks came and they had 3D and 3, I guess it was F, because it's only 2 seats in first class, 2-2. They saw me sitting there and they never asked me to move. And so they went and sat on the other side, which is the A, and I guess it's A and C. And they sat there and they were fine, but they looked at me strange. And it just didn't connect to me that I was in the wrong seat. I was in their seat and I should have been on the aisle on the other side. So then the guy who has 3A shows up. And this is when I found out that I was in the wrong seat. And they go, "Oh, he was sitting in our seat, so we sat over here." And I go, "Oh, why didn't you all tell me I was sitting in the wrong seat? I would have moved because I was sitting in the wrong seat." And so the guy who was in 3A, he sat at the window, which I guess is F because it's D and F because there's no E and B. And so he sat at the window. And then, we had a big conversation about it. And I looked over them. I said, "You guys should have told me." I said, "You could have told me I was sitting in the wrong seat. I honestly did not realize I was sitting in one." They're like, "Oh, it's okay. We didn't want to disturb you." Disturb me. I'm sitting in your seat. Because you know what? When I get on a flight and somebody's sitting in my seat, I'm gonna tell them to get up. because people do that. They try to slip into a seat and hope that you don't notice. No, especially if it's like it's like a middle seat or something, or a window instead of an aisle, or something like that. Yeah, I notice. So let me know what you think. If if somebody's sitting in your seat, would you tell them to get up? And two, would you swap seats? If somebody asks you to swap a seat because they want to sit for whatever reason, would you swap a seat with them? So this is Kerwin with Travel Talk. Have a great trip and pick your seats ahead of time. Even if you have to pay, that's a part of flying these days. There's no free lunches. Talk to you soon.